Lots of bad news out there in corporate America today. Kodak looks like it's hurtling towards bankruptcy. At the same time, we had Barnes & Noble has come out and said, well, it's kind of said two things. Said, hey, we have this really great e-reader, we're going to spin it off. But at the same time, they said, oops, we are losing a ton of money.
Yeah.
What's going on with these guys?
You start with a big profit warning. A month ago, they projected a certain amount of profit, over $200 million for the year. Now it's down to 150, 180 a month later. But at the same time,
the market's freaking out, right? I mean, it's taking a third off the
went down by 30%. But at the same time, they've got this great business in the Nook, which did really well over the Christmas
sort of
season.
the anti-Kindle.
Yeah, I mean, they're right in the mix with the Kindle, some ways the iPad in terms of the e-reader business. They've really done well with it. Sales doubled when you take into account all the content, the devices, everything, all the peripheral stuff.
It's still a small business. Their regular book sales are like this big, and their Nook is like this. So if the Nook doubles and this falls 10%, you're wiped out.
It sounds like the sort of the typical problem that a lot of companies, brick and mortar, newspaper, all those kind of old school companies are having.
Anything where digitization strikes, and then suddenly
you get like this great little spark, but it's nothing like your core business.
Exactly. You've seen this in newspapers, you've seen it in record companies, music, books, TV, film, all these.
I mean, that's where the Kodak idea comes in the sense that Kodak is has been sort of on this decline. And it's all. The thought has always been they didn't jump on the digital. They had the technology for the digital camera in the '70s or something.
But you don't want to eat your own business. I mean, you don't want to cannibalize yourself.
As Steve Jobs said, someo's going to do it, so you might as well do it yourself.
You might as well do it yourself. So they were too slow.
They were too slow. So presumably they're heading to bankruptcy because they didn't embrace the the digital wave. Meanwhile, Barnes & Noble has. Barnes & Noble has jumped in with the Nook. They've competed hard with Amazon. They're doing very well right now. And and the business is still kind of shrinking.
So I guess there's just a very simple lesson learned by comparing these companies, which is or looking at the plights of both these companies, which is surfing that sort of digital wave doesn't necessarily mean you don't end in a wipeout.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't know what the answer really is. I mean, as you say, you sort of have to you're probably better off diving into it. And Barnes & Noble, as a business, should be in better shape than some of these other companies. It doesn't have the kind of the overhead and the asset costs that the infrastructure that a Kodak has or a newspaper business has. But they still face struggles.
Well, I'm really interested in seeing how you wend those two together and make a story out of it. But we'll be back with more Breaking Views tomorrow.